We're speaking now with the member for Frome in the mid-north of South Australia, Penny Pratt. Penny, how are you today?
Good morning, Ricky, and to all of your listeners.
Has there been any snow in the electorate? It just occurs to me. There's been some images of Mount Bryan getting some snow. Has it got that cold? We've seen the white stuff come down just before Christmas.
It's extraordinary vision, isn't it? Yeah, it's not Christmas in July, it's Christmas in November, sadly. And as entertaining as it might be to see snow falling in Mt Bryan with kangaroos jumping through, I'm sure people on the other side of the world would love that vision. We know that the cruelty of that is the predictions of what was going to be a bumper harvest for our farmers statewide, up to 4.2 billion is at a critical risk at the moment of risk of downy mildew. We don't want our heads going to seed. We certainly don't want to see the hail damage that I witnessed this time last year. So everyone would have their fingers crossed, that's for sure.
Yeah, I notice even for the vignerons of the Clare Valley and otherwise, there's going to be some challenges even getting in amongst the vineyards. It's just so darn wet. It's going to be hard getting tractors into some areas to do your spraying.
Look, I think we've all got access to local papers and social media to see the vision that's being reported of the flood warnings locally. And from my perspective, the electorate of Frome, we're really talking about the epicentre at the moment. From Mount Bryan and the Burra Golf Course flooding, World's End Gorge, all the way through the Clare Valley down to Bowman's, Hamley Bridge, where the two rivers meet. It's lovely to look at, but for our primary producers, our vignerons, our farmers, access to property is essential. Being able to check your livestock, check your crops, and of course moving implements around. The implications are significant to the sector that does all the heavy lifting for our economy. So I certainly wish everyone well. And as you say, access to properties at this time of year is essential.
Now, there have been some flood warnings issued at the time we're talking here on Wednesday, the 2nd of November, regarding some communities, including Clare and Burra, needing to keep an eye on flood waters in just certainly local areas. What infrastructure damage are we seeing from that at the moment?
Well, look, it's strange, isn't it? These weather patterns. Just on Sunday in Balaclava, temperatures were knocking on the door of 30 degrees. It was a hot north wind, and here we are talking about snow and flood warnings. I drove to King Street Road in Auburn to look at the overflow and closed road a week ago. It cleared up and the levels have risen. So people know these messages, but I would echo the sentiments that our emergency services are extending to us all, which is to be careful through these flood warnings and road closures. The temptation is to drive through, and that moment can come upon you very quickly. But I would encourage people to think twice and to turn around or to wait. World's End Gorge had flood warnings. We've seen a similar flood warning for Auburn, and I feel like I'm giving the weather report for you this morning, Ricky. But I don't think we can say too often enough to your listeners, please take precautions. Please consider the emergency services, in particular our SES volunteers who are working day and night to clear tree litter. They've got call-outs for blackouts where lines have been compromised. They are in concert with our CFS, fantastic volunteers and local, members of our community. And if anyone in the Clare Valley wants an opportunity to donate to the SES, they should pop into Marilyn's florist shop in Clare Valley Flowers. I know that she cares very much about giving back to our SES volunteers. But through the length and breadth of the electorate of Frome, we are seeing a weather impact, not just to crops, but also to people's safety.
And on that subject of the SES, not only are they dedicated volunteers, but if people do drive through flood waters and not take that little bit of extra time to make a detour on a safer route, you do actually put volunteers at risk. They've got to come out and get you.
My point exactly. Let's think about them. We understand about the critical needs of farmers being able to check their property fence line stock, but at the heart of this are our volunteers. Would be lost without them. So I certainly echo your point there. Have them in mind, think twice and be careful. Of course, yesterday we saw the commencement of the bushfire season. Can you believe it, Ricky? So our CFS volunteers are also on standby. We've got a potential huge fuel load with these bumper crops around. They will dry out eventually, and while we're thinking about floodwaters and those safety precautions, there's also a reminder for people to be bushfire ready and to do their plan, and they can check the CFS website at cfs.sa.gov.au for that information as well.
Yeah, you're going to be spending several weeks perhaps being flood ready and then and at the same time being bushfire ready as well with your slashing. So plenty to get done. Penny Pratt, the member for Frome, thanks so much for joining us today on Flow.
My pleasure. Stay safe, everyone.